Hello everyone, Tin Manly here. Today, I'm sharing with you 5 tips to instantly improve your bird and wildlife photography. It took me a few years to figure this out, so I hope you find them useful. Number 1. Only go take pictures when light is good. When I first started photography, I would get ultra excited whenever I see a bird or wildlife, and I would just try to follow them and snap as many photos as I can, anytime in the day, sometimes even in a sunny afternoon. But ever wonder why we don't look good when we take photos in the afternoon? The light is high up, casting a harsh shadow on our subject. Once I realized how bad the harsh shadow looked in the photo, I started to only go out in early morning and late evening for softer, more dramatic light. Most of the time, I would also make sure the light is behind me instead of at an angle. Unless it's a cloudy day, where the cloud becomes a giant softbox diffusing the harsh light of the sun, and in that situation, I can take pictures all day at any angle. Overcast day is good, especially for wildlife such as bears. Number 2. Instead of only trying to get the subject in focus as the only thing in my mind, I would pause and hold on 1 second and try to move around to look for a different background, so that the relative distance of the animal to the background is bigger. That is, try to find a better separation, also known as bokeh. That creamy background is annoying if there are too much structure in the background. It's very distracting. Number 3. To continue the topic of finding a nice background, try to get to a lower angle. The lower you get, the better the background looks like. Why? I used to take photos standing up. Everyone do that, right? They set up those gigantic carbon fiber tripod up to their eye level, and they chat with each other, and when the animal shows up, they click the shutter and they all get the same photos. But think about it, when you are standing up and shooting downwards at the animal, for example, a black bear. Assume the black bear is on the grass field. You get a photo where the background is, if you're shooting this way, you get a background that is a grass here, very close to the bear. But if you get to a lower angle, and then the background would be the distant tree in the distance, further away from the bear, which creates a nice out of focus blur. And once you get to eye level with the animal, it's like you have entered their world, and the photo would look a lot more intimate. The legendary photographer Franz Landing was the one who pioneered the technique of shooting at eye level with the animal. A few years ago, I met a new friend in Yellowstone National Park. The first time we saw an animal together, he would instantly disappear, like magic. I couldn't see him. Do you know what happened? He didn't really run away. Well, he had this lightning speed to drop down instantly on his belly, like doing a burpee. He said he once met a photographer from Europe which had an award in Wildlife Photographer of the Year. His photos had very dreamy foreground blur as his signature style, and getting on his belly was the secret to create that feel. Before, I was very self-conscious and would have to look around to see if no one sees me before I lie down on my belly, because it's a bit awkward and embarrassing, especially when everyone else were standing, while I started to low crawl forward. But after I saw my friend doing this lightning quick burpee, I no longer have any fear, and I would compete with him to see who drops on the ground faster. I would care less on what others think of me. Plus, the background of the photo would look much better. Number 4. Minimize cropping. The less you crop, the more details you retain, such as the fur of the wildlife or the feathers of the bird. With more details, it would look sharper as well. It does make a huge difference, especially for big print. You may think you have a lot of pixels to crop. It's partially true, but the autofocus loses accuracy if the bird or the animal is too small in the viewfinder, especially when the square of the focusing point is bigger than the animal. I also see it as a challenge to myself to have very little cropping. You may say, well, I can't get close to them and I can't afford a 600mm lens. While it took me years to learn it, I would go to the same place again and again, and some of the birds would fly away while I was still half a mile away. Instead of trying to get close to the skittish subject, it may be better to spend more time on where to find subjects that is within photographic distance. For example, the birds are more tame in Florida and sometimes a 300 to 400mm lens will do. Refer to my blog post, Birders are from Mars, bird photographers are from Venus. Number 6, pay attention to the right time of the year. Before, I thought a bird was a bird, and all I cared was to get a sharp photo. Some birds have their breeding plumage only for a short time in a year. During mating season, the birds look a lot better because they have to impress their mate. For humans, we wear suit and put on some gel on our hair for the first day, or we drive a fancy car. In the animal world, they would change their color, like X-Men in the mating season. Well, not that dramatic. For example, this is an Atlantic puffin in July. They don't have such color in other time of the year. And this is a tufted puffin, my favorite. And brown pelican's feather turn yellow and red in certain part of their neck and head. American avocet's neck would turn to this caramel color. And also, animals in winter coats looks more fluffy than their summer coat. Also, you will see more inner action when they have babies. Burrowing owlets come out in May. Baby gentoo penguins are born around November to December. And it's easier to photograph peregrine falcon when they are learning how to fly. But make sure you don't disturb them. Use the longest lens. If you get too close and they get scared, they may abandon nest. So be very careful. Once I pay attention to these subtle details, my photography improved. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. It would mean a lot to me. If you want to learn wildlife photography techniques, I also have a 1-hour free training. Click the link below. Thank you and see you next time.